Greetings everyone, so fine that's tonight, back at it with another reaction to Carney X's custom armor Digivolutions. So let's see what he has next for us as we go on to the next section after we got done with the Digimon Survive armor Digivolutions. Let's see what happens.
Digimon Survive, it's time for Digimon Tamers. Hit it, Pascon. But
Oh, okay, we're going to Tamers. Oh my goodness, yeah, he is slightly different here, especially with the different beard and mustache.
yes, today we are giving the Digimon Tamers partners armor Digivolutions, with that conceit of them having armor Digimodify cards. I teamed up with Weirdomon once again, who you should definitely check out in the description down below, especially his Instagram where he's turning all the Kanto Pokemon into Digimon-style Kenji Watanabe-esque art. So without further ado, let's begin with Leomon and Jerry. I decided it made sense to give Jerry the Digimodify card of kindness. It's a trait I think she tries to show above all others, and works as a suitable inverse to the D-Reaper's cruelty. I really wasn't sure what direction to go with a Leomon kindness armor, but then Weirdomon delivered by armor digivolving Leomon into Stuff Leomon. I absolutely love the idea of Jerry, who's so fond of puppets, having her champion level Digimon armor digivolve to a stuffed plush version of Saber Leomon, its intended mega. Now I know out of the gate you're going to be thinking, well, where's the armor on this one? And we were trying to go for a more realistic take, what we think Digimon specifically would do, and also folding in some ideas we like. And if we look at the Digi-Egg of Kindness armors, basically none of them are actually armored, and instead the armor often manifests as red or pinkish gloves for the Digimon. So we continued that odd tradition with this cute but powerful kindness armor. It is just so adorable and would fit in just great alongside Toyagumon and X-Tyrannomon. Then moving over to Marine Angemon and Kenta, we have—
That's very accurate actually. Think about it, yeah, a lot of them tend to be fluffier, softer looking, and more plushy looking, I guess you could say.
a bit of a unique situation. Marine Angemon is of course a mega level Digimon, but our framing for this video actually means we kind of get to skip some of the more awkward lore implications of 0-2, because this is a Digimodify armor and not a standard Digimental armor. We also thought it made a lot of sense to pair the bespectacled Kenta with the Digi-Egg of Knowledge, and so Marine Angemon will armor Digimodify into Water Bearmon. This Marine Digimon would have power surprisingly above Mega and possibly even close to an Ultra Digimon like Omnimon. Weirdomon based the design on a Water Bear or Tardigrade, which is a type of bug that needs to be surrounded by water to survive. Though are usually found on lichens, mosses, and even sand and soil. This is such a genius combination of the water of Marine Angemon and the overall themes of Digimon and the Digi-Egg of Knowledge, bugs combined with the earth, soil, etc. that tardigrades might be found in. And then is Kenta's best mate, Kazu, who is of course partnered with Gardramon. I felt it made complete sense to give Kazu the Digimodify card of reliability, as it would mean Kazu and Kenta get the two Digi-Eggs of Cody.
That, and also he also has a similar cross shape there.
Two best mates having the two Digi-Eggs of one character, but also because Kazu straight up has the crest of reliability on his t-shirts. As such, we're going to be giving his guard
or something very similar
on the armor form Cruisermon. Weirdomon and I both agreed it felt super important for reliability armors to continue the tradition of Submarimon in being aquatic or oceanic vehicles, and so Cruisermon carries that torch in being a large boat, somewhere between a naval cruiser, hence its name, and a tugboat or steamboat. I fell in love with this design the second I saw it and could just see it trawling around the net ocean, firing off and attacking enemy Digimon side by side with Water Bearmon. I like through the Digi-Eggs that I assigned and that Weirdomon worked with, we get to have both of them kind of be like Marine Digimon, which is very cool. And I absolutely adore Cruisermon. It's another Gardramon evolution, go figure, I love it. And then it's time for Impmon. I thought it'd be really fun to give Impmon, or more specifically Iron Marco, the Digimodify card of love. This is to represent that sibling bond, but also the love that they and Impmon had to learn to have and express for each other. As such, Impmon's love armor evolution will be Erosmon. And I think this silly little guy is so fun to explore in the armor context. I think a lot of focus is put on Digimon being like super cool, super badass, or super sexy, especially when it comes to like fan art Digimon, but I don't think that's fully reflective of Digimon.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about what I found on E621 for Digimon. I am just going to try and leave that out of my memories of this childhood wonder.
As a whole, and some Digimon are just
okay then.
silly, goofy, odd, and sometimes those are the best ones. And that's why I just adore Impmon becoming this little mischievous Cupid. Still completely on brand for the troublemaker Impmon, but now getting to fly around shooting people with his crest of love arrows and making them fall in love and possibly getting in trouble. I chose the name Erosmon because there's already a Digimon called Cupimon, so settled on using the name of the Greek equivalent of Cupid, Eros. And then we slide over to Monodramon. We gave Rio the Armor Digimodify card of Sincerity, and to be frank, that is largely because I think that the other crest or other Digi-Eggs matched up so well with other kids that Rio's was just kinda left over, but I do still think it's a really cool theme for Rio. Sincerity in the dub, Purity in the sub, I think do match quite well with Rio. You know, he is kind of like the side game protagonist, and his sincerity, his purity, ties in quite nicely to his relationship with Monodramon, Cyberdramon, etc. And so that means we get to do some really fun stuff by—
honestly, I could see it, especially after the little comics I've seen him in here and there.
exploring this with Monodramon, who with the Digimodify card of Sincerity will become Dilomon, the grass and Japanese weaponry of the Digi-Egg being combined with some dinosaur aspects from a dinosaur called Dilophosaurus. I'm absolutely in love with the idea of a little dragon dinosaur ninja, and Weirdomon was absolutely inspired to use the shurikens from the Digimental to make the horns and tail spike, as well as using the leaf to make up the frills that the Dilophosaurus has. This is just such a fun take that we don't see in the other Digimon from the mainline for Monodramon in Tamers, and just really adds to all that fun and interesting exploration we can do with armors because they are not kind of the main Digivolution. There's something side, there's something different. And then is Susie and Henry, who I've elected to give Light and Hope Digimodify cards respectively. Susie getting Light feels on brand, I think. Her being the younger sister to a main cast member meant to me the callback to Adventure was either going to be Kari or TK, and ultimately I decided she'd reference Kari. As such, her Lopmon will Light Armor Digimodify to become Moon Rabbitmon. This Armor Digimon draws heavily from the East Asian and specifically Chinese mythology surrounding the Moon Rabbit. Similar to Nefertimon, this large light armor rabbit can be used as a mount to transport the small Susie around. It's even saddled up on its back. I chose the name Moon Rabbitmon because of course it is inspired by the moon rabbit of that mythology, but also because frankly a ton of moon names like Lunamon, Moonmon, Cressamon, etc. were already taken.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, isn't there another like rabbit moon creature that already has a bunch of the? Yeah, those.
But actually I do think this slightly longer Moon Rabbitmon name does feel very appropriate for this Digimon, and the Digimon franchise's naming conventions in general. And then her brother Henry of course uses the Hope Digimodify cards to turn Terriermon into Tianmamon. Similar to Susie, I asked Weirdomon to base Terriermon's Hope armor on Chinese folklore, to reference the Wong family's Chinese background. But also I thought in particular it was important to reference a seeming recurring theme of the Digi-Egg of Hope, and that is creatures, perhaps even specifically horse creatures, of mythology. This can be seen best in Pegasusmon and Sagittariumon, both being based on mythical horses. So I asked Weirdomon to base this design on the Tianma, which literally means heavenly horse in Chinese and is a winged flying horse in their folklore. Like Moon Rabbitmon, Tianmamon can also be used as a mount by Henry to traverse the digital or real world. So then Rika gets the Armor Digimodify card of Friendship. I think Rika does actually match up quite well with the kind of Blue Ranger archetype that was Matt in Adventure, and I think the thing she had to learn throughout Tamers really was friendship, being friends and partners with her Digimon and the other kids. So
True enough. She did have to learn that the hard way, especially after Renamon almost died many times to learn that lesson.
Rika's Renamon will Armor Digimodify to Raijumon. Its name comes from Raiju, one of very few thunder creatures in Japanese mythology to technically not be used as the names for other Digimon like Raidramon, Raijinmon, and Raijiludomon. This Thunder Armor Digimon would be incredibly fast and attack like a lightning strike, leaving just its downed enemy and the sound of a thunderclap. I think this is such a cool take on a Renamon friendship armor that feels similar to Raidramon, but also wholly unique and in line with Renamon itself. And our last kid of this video is going to be Takato. Unfortunately, there are not enough Digi-Eggs to assign to Alice and Minami without it feeling kind of a little bit weird or missing another kid out. But Takato, of course, had to have the Armor Digimodify card of Courage, which he uses to Armor Digimodify Guilmon to Scorchdramon. Scorchdramon is reminiscent of classic European dragons, which makes a ton of sense. As Guilmon's Mega, Gallantmon would spend time in the type of castles a dragon might attack and scorch, or maybe even protect. As Guilmon's body is red, Weirdomon manifested the Digi-Egg of Courage in black with flames, rather than red to provide a more pleasing color palette without changing Guilmon's body color, which I think works incredibly well while still evoking that feel of Flamedramon and the Digi-Egg.
Agreed. I was gonna say, it kind of reminds me of the Wyverns too.
But there is probably something you've been thinking of this entire video, and that is, of course, Golden Armor Digivolution. In Hurricane Touchdown, Willis's Terriermon Golden Armor Digivolved to Rapidmon with the Digi-Egg of Destiny. So I think it would be a wonderful little nod of the hat to Henry's preceding Terriermon tamer if Henry also got the Digi-Egg of Destiny Digimodify card, allowing Terriermon to become Rapidmon Gold in the Digimon Tamers continuity. But that does leave the Digimodify card of Miracles, and of course one last piece of custom art, which would go to Takato and Guilmon, transforming Guilmon into the Golden Armor form Paladinmon. A Knight of the Realm clad in golden armor I could 100% see working side by side with Magnamon in
I was gonna say, it looks like a red version of Magnamon. I like it. It looks good.
In the Royal Knights, and is overall just a wonderful take on the Golden Knight concept, which feels so close to Magnamon, but also very much its own Digimon. Next is one that really didn't do.
Well, why? That was fun. I like it. That was fun, especially Renamons, Guillemons, Okay, yeah, I'm a sucker for Tamers. It's my favorite season. But yeah, those are all great designs. I love them all. Cruisermon, Moonrabbitmon, Tianmamon. All of them are great. Nice job, Weirdomon and Carney X. I love them all. You guys hopefully enjoyed it too, because I obviously did. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we have next coming up in this video. But for now, that'll do it for now. Please like, comment, subscribe down below. We'll be able to get to the next video, which is back to our Pokemon EXD. Looking forward to seeing what the next boss is going to be, and we'll see you guys in that video if you care to watch it. You guys take care. See you then. Bye.